I'm Gary Peterson, and that is Rob Creany.
That's the Gipper, Gary Peterson. Thank you so much for joining us.
Enough screwing around. Enough screwing around. We've had too much fun already.
And I'll tell you, I can use the fun this week.
Because for a comedy show that streams digitally to over 11 people a week, we have certain people to answer to. And Rob, you had a rough week.
I did.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, I was canceled this week, which was stressful.
Urban Dictionary defines canceled as Rob Crean now. You've been creaned, hashtag creanceled, hashtag believe in all Garys. Whenever you do something against the system and they decide it's too much, that's creanceled.
To be honest, part of me is a little bit happy that being creamed no longer means splitting your pants while trying to climb over a wire fence. Mm-hmm. If I'm looking at the positive.
And still, garried means trying to pick up your hat while you keep kicking it down the road. Still there.
That's what I thought. Like, being garried was when someone else takes your hat off of you, shits in it, then puts it back in your head and bonks it back on. So the poop.
So it grows my hair. Mm-hmm. We'll fertilize it.
Yeah, I was canceled. Let's just get into it.
I released an album, Yellow Belt Confidence, available on deadmellow.com. Everybody's loving it. Marie Bamford wrote about it. But Rob's albums, which nobody's talking about, did not have these controversial comments, but Rob supported me, and in supporting me, decided to make some silly ads. So let's get into what happened.
This was my original post. Take a break from worrying about the impending threat of domestic terrorism. Enjoy Gary's debut album, Yellow Belt Confidence. And then a picture that says the 13 men charged in an alleged plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. There was a picture of all of the actual people that were arrested and charged with this plot. And I replaced them all with 13 different pictures of Gary. I thought it was kind of funny. Those guys are gross, and it was funny to say my friend looked like them.
Might I add that you replaced terrorists with pictures of me, mm-hmm. and they matched up nearly perfectly. You replaced terrorists with the best pictures of me that I have ever taken.
They're good ones.
Some of them are headshots.
One of them is you with my beard shaved onto your head.
Vaseline is a good binding agent for those of you at home.
Yeah. I posted this and I didn't really think much of it. I've been trying to, post kind of funny little things to promote my friend's album. I want people to hear it because I just really believe in it. I just think it's a really good album. In all sincerity, I do think right now it's a really bad time, and we are actually living under a real threat of domestic terrorism and civil unrest. We're a divided country. It's really scary. I actually do believe, honestly, that it is nice to listen to a great comedy album that was recorded in 2015 when things seemed so much better. They probably were still bad, but they seemed better. So that's really sincere, And then there's a little jab at my friend Gary. We tend to jab at each other a little bit. But I got a message from Gary that was like, hey, what's going on with this? And I looked on Facebook, and this guy had posted, fuck Rob Crean, this is fucking gross, and reposted my post. And he'd done it across all social media. He did it on Twitter and Instagram. And I was a little bit taken aback. Then he wrote, this is hands down the least funny thing I've ever seen posted on the internet. And that is really saying something, because I don't, the internet is like Jesus. Male Boston comedians are the most embarrassing people on the planet. It's always a cool thing when a guy can just opt out of sexism. Oh, just opt out of it. Oh, men are the problem, but you're not, you just opted out of it. You're not part of the problem.
Mike Alston, in his second comment, said, like Jesus, male Boston comedians are the most embarrassing people on planet. You can read that two ways. Like, he's outraged so much, or he's saying, like Jesus, male Boston comedians, and he's equating us with our Lord and Savior, which I think is blasphemy. I am just not going to match up to any religious deities in any way, shape, or form. It's just not something I do anymore. And I refuse to.
I guess Jesus did some embarrassing stuff. Like, at that time, he kind of went nuts in the temple. That was pretty embarrassing. Not that he wanted to wash everyone's feet, but just how blatant he was about it is a little bit embarrassing. If you show up in a new town, let me wash everyone's feet. You kind of got to test the waters a little bit, maybe. Hey, anyone around here into getting their feet washed? I don't know. Yeah, y'all should be fucking ashamed. I guess the y'all is probably you and me, Gary. I'm not making light of what almost happened. I'm teasing my friend for looking sort of like terrible people. All the photos in the post are of Gary Peterson. I thought maybe you didn't know, because I think, like, if you don't know Gary and you don't know our relationship, I can understand how it might not make a lot of sense. But normally people that don't know me aren't really looking at my Facebook feed. So, I would love for that I'm not a successful comedian, you know? I don't intend to offend, but I do try to use humor to release stress in a way that can be irreverent. That can be off-putting, I understand. I'm sorry, this is the post of mine you happen to see because most of them are goofy fun. I wish you well. Everything is really hard right now.
Can I ask you, Rob, you often intend to release stress in a way that can be irreverent, your own words.
Yes.
Has it ever worked for you? Has anyone ever laughed
You know, it's such a
at the things you've said?
it's so hard to know if it's with or at, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I would say,
100%.
yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. This joke's fucking disgusting and you should feel bad for having made it. You're obviously making light of what happened and it's pathetic. You don't get to just say your shitty jokes aren't what they are because people challenge you. I've only seen you bomb, but holy shit is this bad.
Before we look at your written response, what is your initial reaction to something like this instead of your measured reaction? Particularly the line that says, I've only seen you bomb.
Honestly, the real question I wanted to ask was, what show is it? Where were you? Where'd you see me? Because I like want to know what show he saw me bomb at, you know? It might be like, say a show and I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was having an off night. Or, you know, he might say a show and I'd say, oh, that's so weird. I felt like I did okay. And then I'd have to, you know, I'd go back and listen to the recording. And
like one of your albums available on deadandmellow.com.
Yeah, maybe
where
that
you're bombing.
I don't think that that's true. I think I'm doing quite well on those. At least 2 out of the 3. What I actually said was, well, at least you already didn't like me. I hope the rest of your week goes better. And then he said, I did like you, which might seem like that's not possible for him to have only seen me bomb and like me. But that's like really what I'm like as a performer, you know? I'm very likable while failing. That's kind of what I do.
Yes, a pretty fair question. What on earth do you think is funny about the plot to kidnap and murder that woman? I don't think your intentional joke was that at all.
Yeah.
You're obviously not making fun of the constant state of fear and the imposing state militia type thinking that could possibly happen within a matter of weeks in a supposedly democratic society. But if you were to write a joke about it, Rob, is there anything funny you could think about in a plot to kidnap and murder a woman?
That they all kind of look like Gary.
Okay.
Was what I thought was funny about it.
That's what you were trying to say.
But to be fair, that is not the only thing I think is funny about it, honestly. I do think that it is kind of funny because it was a colossal failure, you know? And that's kind of funny. Like if they had kidnapped her, that would not have been funny at all. But the feds were onto them pretty early on and they didn't ever really stand a chance. And look, if a terrorist blows up a bomb in a market, that's not funny. But when a terrorist blows up a bomb while he's trying to put it together in his house, it's a little bit funny. Mm-hmm. And that's not the kind of joke that I would make, but it is, though I am making it now. So this is where I'm playing both sides of the wall, which is like the shittiest thing. I hate when comedians do that. So I am making this joke now, but only because I've been pushed into it.
That's right. You had no choice.
I had no choice. I'm defending myself. Mm-hmm. But that's not the joke I was making. The joke I was making was what's funny is that these awful guys look a little bit like Gary.
Mm-hmm. There are easier ways to tell the whole world at once that women aren't interested in you. God. Be better or shut the fuck up. Joking about a terrorist plot to murder a woman is so obviously not okay, no matter how ugly your friend is? Come on, Mike.
Oh, no.
How is he?
Wow.
He's face-shaming me.
Feminist of the year.
He's an ally. He's a white knight. The victim of my joke was not the governor. The victim was Gary. Now Gary's been double victimized.
Yes. Nobody is on my side. And I did not create this meme.
Nope.
I did not. But
all he did was record a comedy album to try and make people laugh that has no jokes about any kidnappings.
9/11 riff, but it's not about the...
One of the funniest, least offensive 9/11 jokes I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Not offensive at all.
This is a true story.
It's actually pretty sweet. Is this like a top soon type situation?
I have zero idea what that means, which doesn't say a lot about you as a comedian, unless that is some kind of gay joke. Is that what you're doing?
Please explain how it would be a gay joke.
Do you not know what top means? Because there is almost no other context for the phrase top soon.
Sorry, typo. Should have said too soon. Man, it is the worst when you're just being paddled mercilessly and then you just make a stupid typo.
Okay, I'm not unfair. That is a fair typo.
Hey, you know what? Right there for a moment we connected, and that felt good. That did feel good.
However, whenever you hear however, I've never heard anything good come after that. I've
Yeah.
never. However, there's pizza for everybody.
However is like actually in a run-on sentence.
However, there is no amount of time where joking about 13 terrorists planning to murder a woman becomes funny. You should know that. I don't care that your friend Gary needs to take better care of himself. This isn't fucking funny. What the fuck?
I don't know.
Why is he attacking you?
It's really.
I just look. I just got off keto. You know,
So
I
he's
lost.
not wrong.
Keto.
I didn't eat Reese's peanut butter cups. I didn't eat ice cream. I didn't eat bread for like 7 months. Okay. And I lost maybe 11 pounds. And then I got a skin rash because of it. And it is not my fault that I look like this, Mike Alston. I am trying everything, trying my level best. I'm now on the Lenny Kravitz diet, and I just don't know what to do.
Oh, you just eat butterflies?
You just wear pants that are so tight, your body just forms tight. And I'm from the South Shore. I am not easy to offend.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about the South Shore of Massachusetts, which is also where you're from, Gary. And that is true. It is a land of savages. They are completely unscrupulous, disgusting people with no manners. They're completely uncouth and barbaric.
You're from where, by the way?
I'm from 2 towns inland of the South Shore.
You're from the No Shore?
I'm not quite on the shore. I'm where the property value dips a little bit.
You're within walking distance of a state-run mental asylum?
Where I grew up is not in walking distance of anything. No, that's not true. It was in walking distance of Shaw's.
For all the people in the South Shore.
And a honeydew. There was walking distance to a honeydew donut.
I resent the implication that the folks of the South Shore are bad savages.
Yeah, no, that's not true. They're just regular people.
No, they're terrorists. Top soon? Hashtag top soon is trending on our Facebook Live.
Oh no. I really thought the Believe in Gary hashtag was going to catch on, but now I'm worried it's going to be this top soon.
It's going to be worse when next week Rob gets me topped.
The target of the joke is not the governor, her family, staff, etc., who have gone through what I'm sure was an unbelievably stressful experience, but rather looking at these photos of these detestable men turning to my best friend and saying, "Hey, I'll look like you." The joke is me, a cruel friend, comparing Gary to people you would never want to be compared to. Is it a great joke? Maybe not. The intention is not to make light of the victim's pain, but to use the plotters as a what you wouldn't want to be.
Isn't it even worse that you are trying to find comedy by taking the victim out of the story entirely? The story is entirely about the threat on a woman's life that is still very much ongoing. These were fucking terrorists that were going to abduct and murder a sitting governor.
It goes on from there, calls me pathetic. He doesn't say anything more about your appearance. He like hammered on me, starting at probably like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh, geez. And I responded a little bit and then, whew. And then he clearly woke up the next morning and immediately was back on it. Came at me again, doubled down. Then some of my friends started going after him. My friend Nick decided that he would kind of look at this guy and see if he could find something that would be easy to misunderstand to attack him on, which was very easy to do because in his profile picture, he was wearing a t-shirt that said ACAB, then I had a picture of a Boston police car, and then said always caring about Boston. And I do think the intention of that shirt is like an anti-police shirt, but it's very easy to misinterpret as a pro-police shirt, like the police reclaiming the acronym ACAB. So Nick attacked him on that for a little bit, and very quickly, Mike Alston blocked all of us, including me, even though I was nothing but polite to him, deleted the post, and that was kind of the end of it. My friend Mark Gallagher also made this. This is, I will say I do regret this post. I really do. I didn't think that it was going to get the reaction that it got, and if I knew that it was, I definitely would have taken more time in the photo editing, because boy, is it sloppy. And I just didn't think I was gonna have to look at it so much. We got to address that, and we did. It's time for us to move on to the rest of the show.
Let's put it behind us and just get into some of our hilarious material.
Yeah, something we've been talking about, Carrie, was kind of a funny idea. So we've all been in quarantine for quite some time. And,
oh yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, you guys have heard about the quarantine. And we were talking about, me and Gary were thinking that, being in quarantine in a lot of ways is like being an astronaut. Right, Gary?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in so many ways.
Excuse me.
Oh no. It's Mike Alston.
Yes, it is Mike Alston.
Oh, well, welcome.
Oh, no.
How are you?
How am I? I'm
Yes.
pretty fucking upset is what I am.
Oh
Yes.
boy.
Listen, between you reposting that joke on your so-called comedy program, and then also Mr. Personberg's absolutely offensive impression of me.
It's Peterson, I should say.
Personberg?
You call me ugly like 3 times.
Yeah, you did call me.
Well, you know what? I can't be faulted for telling the truth.
I mean, there are a
Very
couple.
neat.
I don't want to put anybody on the spot. There's a couple women here who may beg to differ with you. They're not speaking up, but
You're beautiful.
thank you.
All cops are beautiful, and Gary Peterson is.
Those statements shouldn't be together to gain support.
I believe that. Let me see their Venmos. Let me see their Venmos after this to make sure you didn't pay them to say that for you, Mr. Personberg.
My Venmo was such
What you did, that impression of me was incredibly offensive, all right? It was cultural appropriation, all right? I grew up in a house with a cigar store Indian, and I find what you said about me very offensive to my culture and my people.
Your people. You're talking about your people, Mike? Mike, what are your
from the
people?
South Shore?
Ah, okay.
Where are you from on the South Shore?
I'm from a little town called Framrock.
Oh, Framrock. Didn't your team used to play them in football, right, Gary?
Yes,
was the
Weymouth and
Framrock?
Framrock.
Yeah.
The Fram Bowl.
What were your teams?
Both the Wildcats.
Mm-hmm.
The Framrock Wildcats and the
Yeah.
Weymouth Wildcats.
Yeah, they would just say the Fram Cats versus the Way Cats.
Yeah. The difference is our mascot had a mohawk.
Yeah, yeah.
That's more punk.
Pretty punk. I would know something about being punk since I live in Alston now.
Your profile says you're the Pope of Alston?
Pope was
Yeah.
taken.
Ah, okay. Why are you the Pope of Alston? You turn a blind eye to a few things, or?
Now, much like the actual Pope, I have to drive around in a hermetically sealed car.
God.
Yeah, I mean, we all do during this pandemic, really. I mean,
I've been doing it longer. You can't be too safe in a filthy city like
Yeah.
Alston.
yeah, he was into hermetically sealed cars before they were cool.
We're getting some questions from the listeners. Mike Alston from Framrock, but now lives in Alston. Did you know you were going to move to the place that your last name was, or did you adopt the city's name when you moved there?
Happy coincidence. I didn't really have a choice in moving to Alston because that's where my family. That's where I decided to. That's the only place I could afford.
We've got a couple other questions. Is Framrock near Fraggle Rock? From Kurt Speedblom and from Jacqueline Wall. Why haven't you fixed the Alston rat problem?
Framrock is just south of Schuster,
Mhm.
and the Alston rat problem. I see no reason for us not to embrace our rat brothers and sisters.
I heard something about everybody from the whole town of Framrock being sued by Fraggle Rock for copyright infringement for closeness of name.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
probably
We
why
don't have a
everybody
high
was
school because of that.
It wasn't just the name; it was the name combined with the theme song. What is the theme song to your town?
Framrock, get up and go. Framrock, we have somewhere to go. Framrock, we're all gonna die. Hey,
I think it sounds pretty different than the Fraggle Rock theme, but evidently the estate of Jim Henson disagreed.
they bled our town dry.
Mhm.
That's why everyone graduates high school in 4th grade here.
Why is the high school mascot in Alston a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon
I can't have the ribbon with a mohawk.
that dropped out of mass art because it was too mainstream?
Are you asking why the Framrock mascot is a can of PBR?
No, Alston, the Alston.
Alston.
We all know what the Framrock mascot is. It's a wildcat with a mohawk.
Right.
That's been established. That's canon.
It is. The Alston mascot is a can of PBR with a mohawk because not a lot of people know this, but Alston is technically not an incorporated city in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It was technically never purchased. And as a result, we're not allowed to drink the same water as the rest of the city. So our water supply was privatized by the Pabst Blue Ribbon Company. So we're all raised on Pabst Blue Ribbon here. We mix it in our baby formula. We use it to wash our cars.
Feels very
Our
authentic.
skating rinks are just frozen PBR, which is difficult because you got to freeze them at a lower temperature than you would normal water. So we've had some incidents where hockey teams have not made it out of a match.
Mike, you seem like a reasonable guy.
Don't make assumptions.
Is there any sort of, reconciliation that we can, kind of, as John F. Kennedy said, we can disagree without being disagreeable? Is there anything that maybe Rob could do or say or sing that would
Find it hard to believe that we can find any common ground on a situation as dastardly and offensive as this. Listen, I have been to precisely 372 of Rob Korean shows at the Gas in Alston, Mass.
Oh, wow.
And I've sat through every one of them, and I have not laughed during a single one. And that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm always going through something. But I cannot help but think that his tasteless, offensive, demoralizing, and quite frankly, oblique and magenta humor on the internet is nothing but a prophecy fulfilled from his lackluster, feckless, limp-wristed stage act, of which I have seen more times than there are days in a year.
I don't think that math checks out. How many times did you say you saw me?
372, you said.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 172. Yeah, that is more times.
Well, I mean, I just don't think
Nothing if not fair.
hashtag Pretty Peterson is trending, just so everybody knows.
Pretty Peterson, that's great.
And Mr. Persenberg, I got to ask you, where do you get off? Where do you get off having a terrorist face, walking around in terrorist face everywhere you go?
I usually get off right outside your mother's house.
Yeah.
Whoa, these guys are from the South Shore.
True to his roots.
Typical
Wayman.
male Boston comedian humor.
You can go to the birthplace of Abigail Adams and go, fuck yourself, Weymouth. Cameo Theater, $1. Got robbed on a Friday at 11 a.m. Weymouth.
Just some more of this heteronormative, patriarchal, white supremacist, Dewey Decimal System humor that all of you Boston so-called comedians are famous for.
Could you tell us a funny joke that you know, Mike Alston?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
The system.
The system who?
The system that needs to be teared down and replaced with a brand new one in its wake. See, it's funny because it speaks truth to power.
And that's why audiences go to comedy shows, to hear the truth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's never to hear anything else to escape from reality of this bleak fucking world.
Listen, let
idiot.
me tell you why audiences go to comedy shows, all right? Audiences go to comedy shows to be lectured about what they should believe, to watch funny incidents involving pies, but not pies baked by women. Comedy shows.
Whoa!
Because we're not supporting the sexist idea that a woman needs to be confined to the household.
She can
What if it's
if she wants to, right?
what if she's a professional baker? Yeah, that's.
I can't imagine anyone baking for pleasure.
What if she bakes for her living? What if it's her passion?
Julie
Like,
Childs.
she can't live without baking. She can't live without serving a man.
All right, I'll admit when I'm wrong. You got me on that one.
What are restaurants like for you, Mike?
Quiet.
What's your favorite restaurant?
I've been told that is not true. I've been told by people who reached out to me during this that, Mike, you are often at a bar in Alston, which was the site of my first stand-up comedy show back when it was called The Real Bar, and that people often will, even if they're not planning on eating, will get a table to avoid having to listen to you talk longer at the bar. That is true.
Comedian, very funny, Jacqueline Wall notes, I've never enjoyed a pie made by a man. And I think that's really where we're at.
That is her right.
She's right.
She's right. Mike Alston, ladies and gentlemen. The poop of Alston.
Let's get a little bit serious here for a minute. That was a little, I'm going to be honest, a lot of that was a little bit silly. But it's all true. All of it's true with the exception of the person being named Mike Alston. The rest of it's completely true. I guess everything that Mike Alston said in person wasn't true because that wasn't really him. That was actually our dear friend, Nick Ortolani, who's also been getting a little dragged on the internet this week. Welcome, Nick.
Hello.
I was dragged by a person who I think posting across all social media outlets. I heard from 4 people that were like, yeah, fuck you. Now, you recently had an article on the Hard Times website that a lot of people did not care for. So much bigger reach, and you got a much bigger negative response. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Nick?
I had an article published called Top 5 High-Paying Jobs Your Parents Probably Have If You're Voting Third Party.
Getting a lot of good smiles from that.
I get a very small dose of this, and you got a lot more.
Well, yeah. It was weird. A lot of people on social media started dragging the article pretty hard, which is like a thing that happens when you put your stuff out there. Is there's always people who are gonna be cranks about it. It got weird. People started tweeting pictures of me and saying things like, no way this guy doesn't have a trust fund. I worked in a housing project for 5 years. I don't have a savings account, you know?
Were people also saying stuff like, this guy's friends with Gary, that guy's ugly, and stuff like that?
In no uncertain terms.
Who would say such a thing?
It's a very mean thing to say.
You've developed thick skin from doing stand-up comedy. But it's different because when you're after a show and somebody comes up to you, and I've seen it, and we've been around a lot of people who didn't like what we said. They come up and they're like, fuck you. And you can be like, no, fuck you. But when it's online and people like, you know, take time to Photoshop your name or caption you and do these things, there's it's hard to defend yourself when it's like it's not in front of you.
When people come up to me after a show and they don't like what I did, they don't usually give me a fuck you. They usually give me one of those like, I mean, you'll get there one day.
If the 3 of us were on a show, someone would come up, they would go to Gary and say, you were so funny. And they would go to you and say, man, great stuff, hilarious. And they would go to me and say, hi.
I don't tend to engage in the criticism online. And I think that's just kind of a defense mechanism for the most part. I have done it a couple of times. If there's a moment where I can like discern that I was in the wrong about something, or if something I said had like an unintended consequence. I wrote an article that we ran a while back, Mother's Day breakfast in bed obstructed by ventilator. And
I think that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Thank you. My intent with that article was to make fun of people who think that they can continue acting like things are normal in the face of this unprecedented global health catastrophe. Yeah. But there were a couple of people in the comments who said things like, I lost my mother rather recently to COVID-19, and it was weird of you to mail this article directly to her house. No, but you know what I mean? Like, there were a couple of people who had lost loved ones or family, and they said, I don't think this is funny. And to those people, I would engage them and be like, hey, I really am sorry that is what you took away from this. I'm trying to make fun of people who are callous and don't care about the health of their loved ones to the point where they'll continue endangering them over and over again. And I'm sorry that you went through this. Like that's an example of an unintended consequence of something I wrote.
When I first started doing comedy, it was like,
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was the golden age. It was very much there was very much this attitude of like, never apologize for your comedy. That was like the attitude. And as I did comedy longer and longer, I realized that like, sometimes you really should apologize for your comedy. Sometimes you don't think something through and you come up with a bit that's offensive. And when someone tells you that they're offended by it and you listen to their reasoning, you're like, oh, right, yeah, that does make sense. And then you apologize and you change it a bit.
Ain't that the thing? Because most art, but I would say particularly comedy, you don't know if it works until it's been displayed. I think you can say that about theater, a lot of music, even visual art. Like, you don't know whether or not it succeeded in doing what you want it to do until it's actually been exposed to an audience.
Some of the most exciting comedy is comedy that's like right up against the line of good taste. And even a skilled comedian figuring out a new bit, you don't know where the line is, and you want to get as close as possible without going over. And sometimes you go over a couple times while you're figuring it out. And, you know, when you do, you apologize and you pull it back, you know?
Yeah. And the same is true with the butter sculpture community.
Mhm.
Now, Nick, when you found yourself in hot water, as they say, people coming at you, I was there for you.
Yeah, you did send me a text that said "miss you."
Can you tell everybody how much that meant to you?
It meant quite a bit, Gary. I've always looked at you as kind of the grandfather I would say the grandfather I never had, but the grandfather who never hit me.
I want to say too about Nick. Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you were continue.
Oh, go for it.
That's fine. It's just our moment, Rob.
He's used to being railroaded by men with gray hair.
Top soon, Carrie. Top soon.
You know, Nick mentioned that when he's attacked, he doesn't really engage. But when I was attacked, he did engage. He did, you know, come to my defense and really, you know, called this guy out for, you know, whether or not the joke is offensive. And I think there's certainly a reasonable argument that it is. This guy's response was over the top.
What I was upset about was that he was engaging in a public act of trying to shame you. It's one thing to be like, I don't like this joke, I don't find it funny, I'm letting you know I don't find it funny. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. When those people kind of go that extra step to be like, this person is a fool and I need to share it with all the sevens of people that can see me.
He was posting stuff like, don't book Rob Crean. You know, little did he know that no one does. That's why I run my own shows. And also there are no shows because of the pandemic.
I was saying to you, it's kind of my just desserts that I went in so hard on this guy, and literally a day later, people were shitting all over me on the internet. I have reflected a lot on that. Probably not a mistake I will repeat, but that's another thing about the people who are criticizing me on the internet is that most of them weren't meeting me on any kind of intellectual front about this.
Yeah.
Most of them were just, their entire response is, here's a picture of poop. I can admit when I was wrong. I can admit that part of that article was a bit of a miss, because what I intended to criticize were people who are very glib about their votes when they don't suffer the political and social consequences of an election. That's what I wanted to make fun of. Through some of these comments that I read, I realized that there are plenty of people who come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds that do vote third party. People who are like, yeah, my parents abandoned me and I vote third party, or like things like that. Same with that other article. I'm not trying to trigger anyone or bring up some like bad shit for people. So I can admit when the article didn't accomplish what I wanted it to accomplish. And that's fine. But what I won't do is meet someone more than halfway when they're approaching me in a bad faith argument about something. They're trying to intellectually criticize me over a very stupid thing I wrote that was supposed to just like be silly and dumb and make fun of rich people.
We knew you were down, so Rob and I actually pulled some strings, and we did reach out to the celebrity community. They could not be here because they have such busy schedules. We thought we could read a few. We stand with you. I have never done anything in my life without thinking, what would Nick Ortolani do first? This is by celebrity chef Paula Dean. Had said that on her Twitter page.
It takes courage to be who you are and to live the life as the person you know that you should be. And I was inspired to do that by Nick Ortolani. Rachel Dolezal said that. So that's nice.
That's amazing. I have one of her shoes, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care to go into it, but I do.
The bellwether of my moral compass is guided towards true north, or as I like to think of it, as true Nick. From the estate of Jeffrey Edward Epstein.
It's actually really strange because Elaine and I are pen pals.
Do you happen to have one of her shoes?
When she heard about the whole Nick thing, she had already written me about it, and she just wanted me to like relay the message that she supports you and she's here for you. And she knows what you're going through.
That really means a lot. She must have noticed me that time in early March when Katie and I drove up to the house that she was definitely hiding out in Manchester by the Sea and stared at it.
She mentioned that. She said, I actually think that I've seen him before, but she didn't know if it was either a dream or, but it sounds like she may have actually have seen you in real life.
I actually don't know who this person is, but it's from someone named James Parsons. Said about you, Bazinga.
That's very kind of him.
Yeah, I don't really know what that means, but
James Parson, as you all know, plays Sheldon the Turtle on the famous kids show Sheldon.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a very well-known role for him. I actually, so little known fact about me, I like to hang out. A lot of my friends are strippers. I don't know if you guys remember Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day we were just having like a nice socially distanced party, as you know the stripping community does. And we're all doing just like some casual lines out of each other's butts. And I just said your name. Like I read your article the other day and I was like, Nick Ortolani. And Charlie, who's like my best friend for the last couple of years, he just went, yeah. And I thought that enthusiasm just like would mean something to you. He like was a real fan.
The idea of Charlie Sheen being your best friend is as delightful as the idea of Charlie Sheen being John Malkovich's best friend in the movie being John Malkovich. It's delightful.
That is very nice of Chuck to say that.
Yeah.
It's
and Chuck Lorre was there. I forgot to mention that. You know, he's lesser known, but
2.5 Chucks. It's nice of Charlie to say that, especially because we all know how much trouble he has speaking these days. Crack will fuck up your throat.
Outspoken in some many ways.
I guess this is an excerpt from an upcoming book. When true patriots are called to speak truth to power, it takes a certain level of character to have the strength and courage to stand up. And that's from a book called Killing Ortolani by Bill O'Reilly. No, it's coming out soon, I guess.
Nick, how can people find your art and criticize it publicly?
Hardtimes.net. I've got a lot of articles there. I tend to repost them on my Twitter at Nick Ortolani or on my Instagram at Nick Ortolani. Yep. And if you wanna read something and then decide you can do it better despite never having created anything in your life, feel free to just tell me what a shit job I did, and feel free to get me fired from my full-time position at Hard Times.
Can I just go around and just ask everyone? Sometimes I see stuff on the internet that offends me. I'm sure we all do. How do you react when you see something on the internet that offends you?
I used to go directly to Reddit and find the most scummy trash sort of things that I could find to see if I was the most incensed person on the internet, which is surprisingly never true. Mm-hmm. And then just revel in like the trash that is there comment-wise.
I have never been offended in my life. I think I'm like too smart to be offended almost, so I've never had that problem personally.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I may be like the opposite direction of that.
Every time I see anything on the internet that I'm even remotely offended by, I take a 3-hour drive to Lake Kenshaw in New Hampshire, and I stand at the precipice of the lake, and I remove a mason jar from a sack that I've brought up with me, and I scream my feelings about whatever I saw on the internet into the jar, and I seal it up and bury it by the shores of Lake Kenshaw, and one day that they will kind of just be washed away, and the fish will have to hear my thoughts.
Wait a second. Hang on. I just found this jar here.
What's
Homestar Runner?
Yeah, that was a big one. When I was in 8th or 9th grade, I got really offended that Homestar Runner didn't have 6-pack abs.
Okay. Well, I think Strong Bad did.
I didn't say strong bad, did I, Rob?
Nick Ortolani, ladies and gentlemen. He's canceled. Hashtag lockup Rob is trending. Chris Brown asks, Rob is the only one without glasses. I wonder if he's okay with that.
Oh, I have glasses. They're someplace. Where are they?
Get your readers on. Someone has noted the thing that I always call Rob when he wears his glasses, young Dahmer.
I call it serial killer chic. Which is so funny because I think I am positive I am older than Dahmer ever was.
You've looked older than Dahmer ever
Hey!
was. Please welcome Carrie Coughlin.
Somebody would neighbor my screen sharing. This is the story of Carrie seeing the big city. I used to work in national parks outside all the time, but I decided that I really wanted to help people and be wholesome, so I moved into the world of corporate finance. So these first two sides are very professionally put together because I suffered for several years in this beautiful field. For a few more dollars an hour, you too can be emotionally abused for days on end, 5 days a week, but at least you can pay your bills. I love capitalism. I really want to get everybody a lay of the land. This feels like a very Massachusetts-centric show, but in case anybody else watching is not from this area, I was working in Boston, specifically in the sort of South Station area. This is what I think of Boston as. We have an adorable Boston Terrier. She's a very good Catholic, loves the Red Sox, knows the lingo, is imbibing on the delicious nectar that is a Dunkin' Donuts extra extra iced coffee, no matter the time of year. If you don't know what extra extra is, then congratulations on your lack of diabetes. This is such a Massachusetts show. I've been trying to get away from being so New England centric. I'm convinced that most of the United States doesn't exist, even though Gary claims to be in California. Like, that's just a pretend story. If this were supposed to be a South Shore depiction of Boston, then this Boston Terrier would be like Oscar the Grouch, who lives in a trash can, and he would be smoking a butt. That's what my opinion of the South Shore. Exactly like Casey Affleck. Because of this world being such everybody's used to a very high caliber of thing, just having the best of the best at all times. I don't want to say horrendously entitled lizard people because I have no idea who's going to get a handle on this, but there we go, I've said it out loud. This is basically what the bathroom looked like. I was essentially the only person who took public transit into work every day, so you know that makes me disgusting scum of the earth. I would come in looking about like this. Realistic depiction of how I felt on the inside. To get ready for the day, I would just sort of have that quiet moment, always get there a little bit early. The most amazing thing about this bathroom to me was just that everything worked. I feel like that's the height of amazing to me. One thing that I struggled with every day were the soap dispensers. They looked about like this. Usually they would just come out foam, but every morning they would come out this. I could never get quite a firm handle on how to describe the texture of this soap, but it was milky, a little bit translucent. I just really couldn't find a description other than apparently not jizz. So the more times this happened, because the first times, of course, I'm like, you're a perv. What the heck is going through your head? That's the first thing that comes to your mind. But the longer I was there, it was every single day. I'm like, is this soap dispenser possessed by something? Because of course my imagination's going to wander. And I finally landed on the bathroom itself must be possessed by the ghost of Mr. Clean, but not only that, but a specific body part, the soap dispenser had to be possessed by Mr. Clean's peen, which for those of you who aren't 12 years old or younger in your maturity, that's a penis, but it sounds better as Mr. Clean's peen. I love explaining jokes. This is that wily ghost of a mascot for cleaning supplies. So it began to be almost some sort of sick and twisted bukkake fest. This guy's a clean freak in more ways than one. This is a very questionable clean. I came out of those bathrooms feeling dirtier than I went in. I hope everybody's enjoying this slide that took way too much work for how much time it actually just took.
I like all the different fonts you used, all the best ones.
Thank you so much for appreciating that, because fonts are my passion. But he's a real fucking clean freak. I'm sorry. But it sort of became like a Beauty and the Beast situation. Mr. Clean was my only real reliable force in my job every day. If nothing else went well that day, at least in the morning, I could be a little bit grossed out by the soap coming out of the dispenser the wrong way. So I started to think more and more about Mr. Clean. This is our relationship now. What are we? Because he's obviously a successful mascot, recognized the world over. Somebody thought enough of him to computer animate this very realistic image of a man. The face here is both disgusted and amazed. So I was thinking, does Moaning Myrtle haunt other floors? Has she been giving him pointers? Because we all know that she basically sexually assaulted children in Harry Potter, and people thought that was fine, just because she's a weird nerdy girl. It turned from creepy to, yeah, maybe this could work. So he and I developed a relationship. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I hated working there. So I had to leave. And this is a really realistic depiction of our breakup. It was probably one of the saddest days of my life. I mean, I have a totally clean slate in my new job, love it there, but I've never quite been able to magic erase Mr. Clean from my heart or my mind. Thank you for sitting with me through that breakup.
That was great.
Heartwarming.
I really appreciate that you took so much time to edit your face onto the face of another woman at a regular looking bathroom rather than just taking a picture of yourself in your own bathroom.
I learned a thing or two about possession from Mr. Clean, and I'm just like very similar to a character from What We Do in the Shadows. I'm just never really able to get the faces right. So that was actually me possessing that woman, that Shutterstock image.
Mr. Clean is very sexy.
Really?
Yeah.
Top five.
In those pictures? Yeah, absolutely. Are you crazy?
But in the first picture, he had a mustache. I don't remember him having a mustache.
Oh, yeah.
He's gone for a few phases, a few iterations.
Yeah.
Like I think they really tried to sell him as a hipster for a little while because there are a lot of like twirly mustache pictures.
What if he had like black rim glasses and like a long beard? Just like a long kind of wavy beard.
Super fuckable Mr. Clean.
Yeah, like a really fuckable.
Yes, hashtag pretty Gary. Gary, I didn't know. Oh my God.
Well,
all the pieces are coming together.
This isn't the first time I've been confused for someone that spent a lot of time in a women's bathroom. But let me just say, what I'm hearing from your slideshow is a sense of loss. What I would like to do for you, I would like to give you a sense of closure. I could take my glasses off. I can't promise what my eyes are going to do, but we could have maybe the closure you never got.
That would be great. Thank you.
Welcome to the third floor bathroom. I am your moderator for today's breakup, the magical scrubbing bubbles. You spray us on and we start working. You let us sit for 10 minutes. And then just wipe clean. We're here today for an historic breakup, Carrie Coughlin and Mr. Clean.
It just hasn't been the same.
I feel like you're smothering me.
It's been 4 years. Conrad, nobody even knows your first name.
Conrad
Clean.
This has to stay here.
How come you keep saying we should defund the police? Who's gonna do the job?
We talked about this. They'll still have so much money. Why? That's not what this is about. Why are we coming back?
All
You're right.
Bastards.
You're right. It's not what it's about. It's about my heart being so closed up and locked away and dirty and filthy little heart that I just can't let out because it's a dirty, dirty little germ that I'm gonna scrub away.
You just need to let your true clean penetrate the way it penetrated my pores and my soul. I still have your Junkies order memorized by heart.
Extra.
7 shots of hazelnut.
Iced.
Puffs.
And a tuna croissant sandwich. Iced.
I have to get the tuna from the CVS around the corner, but I did it every time.
Babe, that order's gotta be to go. Because I best be going on my way for what I've done. I'm going to jail.
What was it this time?
This time?
I
Conrad, you started COVID.
That's right.
Oh my God, I thought you just gave Abby Johnson dysentery again.
It started as a bit and it just got out of control.
You're a mascot for cleaning products.
I've become a real crean.
What?
Oh no. I didn't know you'd fallen this low. I guess I got out in time. This is just as what I needed. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's very insensitive.
I think now is the time where Mr. Clean could use some support. We've got some other bathroom cleaner mascots here. Please welcome the Brawny Towel Man and Toilet Duck.
As the toilet duck, it's hard to find any sympathy with Conrad here, considering he started this whole COVID debacle. A lot of us cleaning mascots, we get a little big for our britches and we start convincing ourselves that we can eradicate 100% of germs, but really, it's only ever 99.8. You opened a Pandora's box that you just couldn't close.
I was after that 1%. I just wanted to be perfect. Like you.
No, nobody's perfect. Not even your good friend, the toilet duck.
I actually don't think that you personally caused COVID-19. I'm willing to take that from you and carry that burden. We can't just keep blaming Conrad Clean for COVID-19. It does rhyme, And it makes sense, but I can't let you carry that yourself.
Takes a lot to defy the strength of a good jingle.
Dr. Brana's here. I'd like to say that it is absolutely the fault of corporate cleaners that we are now ensconced in this pandemic, when they could have been being cleaned with nothing but peppermint and all sorts of ingredients which are clearly listed on the bottle, which is 8 pounds. Each one costs $27.
I should have known that you were a lawyer with all the small print on your bottle.
That's right. I'm
Hey,
a scientist, a man of
Dr.
science.
Lawyer Brana.
Method cleaner here. You don't need to put dangerous stuff in things just to make it bad. 2020 YOLO hashtag. Gotta go vape.
Yes, it is I, Senor Fabuloso. And I feel the need to deride my compatriot in cleansing, Mr. Conrad Clean. You, sir, you make me sick. And not simply because of your alopecia-stricken physique or your finely toned muscles that make it difficult for me to clean my apartment without gaining some form of sexual gratification from it. No!
Hey everybody, it's me, that blue guy that clips on the side of your toilet bowl. I hear you talking, but I can't understand because all the echo from the toilet bowl. What's going on, guys?
Oh boy. Listen, toilet clip, we spend a lot of time together in that bowl.
Hey, it's toilet talk, everybody!
Yeah, it's quack quack, everyone. I know. Let's get that out of the way.
Might be a clean you just can't reach. Oh, wait.
I'm a paper towel unicorn, and I'm gonna fix everything. Look out.
As a man of science, I am not going to listen to the ramblings of a unicorn, a duck, and a blue guy that's clipped onto the edge of a toilet seat. I am Dr. Brana, and I stand with science.
Yeah, go chew on some eucalyptus, you pretentious knob.
I bet you don't even know what paraffin is.
Nope, I'm just pumped full of beef tallow, ready to clean.
I make the water blue!
You're doing good. Good job. Good job.
Hey, it's me, the Plan B pill, and I'm just gonna say that I'm still trying to join your club, and I haven't heard back yet.
Skip, scap, skip. I'm the scat cleaner, Mr. New Orleans. You got scat in your bowl? Run my fingers down its back. Ooh-wee. I down in New Orleans.
Hey everybody, it's me, hand sanitizer. Take a little sip. Come on. No one's gonna know. Take a little sip. Come on. Take a little sip. Come on. What's the big deal? No one's gonna know. Take a sip. Go for it.
Hi, I'm the beard from Burt's Bees. I'm gonna take you down a peg, you sons of bitches. If I ever get out of here alive, I swear I'll make you pay. Bees control the world.
I don't find that as threatening somehow.
Not as creepy as hand sanitizer.
No, I feel like I'm being cleansed in more ways than one with the hand sanitizer. It's like inside and out, but also dead.
Carrie, you're hilarious, and we appreciate your brain. And where can people find your stuff? Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram, or just talk to me at this point, because
Find you and talk to you.
yeah, wear a mask if you want to like show up outside my window. Don't know how you'd find it, but
Super funny. At c.kewl.c on Instagram. Carrie Coughlin.
That was great.
Final guest, Rob.
Yes. Wonderful.
And we have a video to play of her work.
Should we play the whole video, or should we talk over it, or what do you think?
No, I feel bad because it looks like I recorded it on 360p and then converted it to VHS tapes twice and then played it on YouTube and then screen recorded it, and that's actually how I did this.
It looks great.
Come back, you're right with me. Sunflower.
very proud of it.
You're living in Massachusetts, I believe.
Alston, maybe?
Alston. Do you know Mike Alston by chance?
Yeah.
Do you know the Alston fight song?
All the locations were actually in Alston.
Cool. Where was it mainly recorded?
The studio stuff, like the main part, the performance part, that was in a studio space, like right by Studio 52. I forget the name of the place. It runs parallel to Studio 52. That place was super nice. And we actually got really lucky because the guy who had that studio space was a photographer. So there was already a bunch of shit there. We didn't need to use any of his stuff, but I ended up using actually a dolly for one of the shots that he had there, which was great. So it all worked out. And then the other spots were actually in Studio 52, which was fun.
Yeah.
But
Now,
their
is it-
practice space was like tiny.
Is it true that those men, they never knew each other before they met you? And you said, just get in front of the camera, I'll do the rest.
They all like met like right before that, and that was actually right off the cuff. So
I got a question. I heard drums, but did not see a drummer. How do you explain that?
Oh man, Nick with these gotcha questions.
you're taking the magic out of the video. Just appreciate the video, and we can talk about the drum thing offline. But for right now, you're embarrassing me.
The drummer is dead.
For many years, I worked in the building next door to Studio 52. I love that area. I love a Stop and Shop parking lot that's like a maze. You can get in some ways, you can't get in other ways.
Nobody ever goes in,
closing.
nobody ever comes out.
Studio 52 is closing.
Oh, really? I mean,
Yeah.
everything is, I guess, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Say Gary and I were formed a band like we keep talking about and just never get around to. And we had a song that we wanted to make a video of. What do you think? Just looking at us, our general vibe or general looks.
We should do some of the song, don't you think? Lead
Yeah.
singer Rob?
You had a single out with your band Gary and the Petersons. The A side was Diarrhea Drinking, and the B side was DayDream Boy. So which song do you think we should do?
DayDream Boy.
DayDream Boy.
It's
Yeah.
a lesser known. Diarrhea Drinking got too much radio play.
A little played out.
Daydream Boy. Wake up.
Dream
Pew, 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 pew.
It's a day for a dream for a boy. It's a daydream boy, daydreaming during the day. He's sleeping or he's awake. It doesn't matter. He's gonna dream away the day. Daydream boy, daydream.
Never knew my mother sounds from another. It's got sort of like a Linkin Park influence to it.
Lincoln Biscuit. So you guys both have this really great, handsome, rugged look to you guys, both
Thank
of you.
you. Especially
Yeah, people say I'm like a rugged Muppet.
Yeah.
I'm like
That's
Uncle
exactly what I
Crab
was
and
thinking.
Max from Fraggle
So I'm
Rock.
thinking the video takes place on a defunct farm. You guys wake up in a pile of hay, and it starts with this really great big crane shot. And it starts really tight on you guys, and it keeps lifting as, yeah, exactly. It helps me when you're acting it out a little bit. And then so the crane, it just keeps moving up and up and up, and you're like, wait, does this defunct farm not have a ceiling? And it doesn't. Yes, exactly. Exactly, yes. And you guys, you're coming to, yes. But I'm sorry that at the end of it, Rob gets executed by a horse.
I like this idea. And you know what? You know who happens to have a defunct farm?
That guy.
Yeah. Turns out you can't grow batteries. No matter how hard you plant them.
I've never heard that, actually. I thought it was always quite easy to grow batteries.
Unfortunately,
Maybe it's
unfortunately, the
easy.
folk tales aren't true.
I was just laying down. I'm very concerned because of his age. Oh, there he goes.
Oh man, doing Zoom shows is hard work. I get sleepy.
We've had a lot of fun. At Shot by Motorcade is your Instagram.
Yeah.
Can we just ask everyone, do you think DayDream Boy has what it takes to be a hit?
I think it does, yeah, but
Yeah.
only if you go with me as your cinematographer.
You know, I thought it was really beautiful because I was picturing like very Humpty Dumpty but reimagined, and then when you guys started talking about a defunct farm, I was like, all of these dovetail so beautifully.
I think we've had a wild, fun, great show.
I have half a tuna sub in my fridge that I'm gonna eat.
Is it CBS tuna?
Yeah, it's a CVS tuna.
Bye, everybody!
I can't wait to yell and scream at these little monkeys.
I like that movie.
I disagree, Gary.